lovelies, my name is Jessica and welcome to Makeup Misfit. Now, project level up last month, I don't know what I was thinking, but I thought I was on level 4. So everything I said in that update was not true, but like not what I needed to be talking about. I was actually on level 5. And I don't know what made me like think that I wasn't. It was weird. I have no idea because when I was focusing on my Sugar Dreams palette from Sugar Drizzle, I was like marking everything as though I had hit my 4 uses. Like if you guys saw the update, you know I was like, oh, I hit my usage goal and marked everything 4 times. Then I realized, no, I think when I was posting it actually, because I keep in the description box the palettes that I have used for each level, and I saw that I had a level 4 palette already, and I was like, what am I thinking? But I really didn't want to sit and refilm it all, so I was like, I'm going to hit my level 5 goals and get things cleared up in the next update. So we are here. That is what is happening. I apologize for being not in the headspace, I guess, to actually know what I'm doing. But I am happy to say that as my level 5 palette, I have reached for every shade 5 times now, which is what I was supposed to do last time. Now, I'm going to show you guys this palette because I also have 5 pans. So I will be leveling up today, and the day that I'm filming this, I wanted to film it early. The day that I'm filming this is September 27th. So if you have seen my new round for hashtag beauty chest, that intro, then you'll know that I had said when I pulled in the prompt focus shade twice and I wanted to add in 2 eyeshadows. The 2 eyeshadows that I wanted to pull in was actually from this project, from this palette, but I couldn't because it would have spoiled the whole thing. So we are going to, I'm gonna show you guys what I've been working on. I have all of my notes and everything right beside me here. So this, and even this one, even though you really can't see it because it is teeny tiny, are the 5 pans that I have hit in this project. Now, technically, I wasn't going to film this just yet because I've been focusing in on hitting pan on this shade, not actually this one. So it is so tiny, but it's right there. And this shade right here is not as smooth as the rest of the shimmers in this palette. And I feel like you can kind of see that just by looking at it. So it has taken me a long time to try and actually hit pan, considering how quickly it took to hit pan in the rest of these shades right here. So we will go over them. But I just wanted to point out that this is the one shade that I've actually decided to focus in on, and I still haven't hit pan, but because I hit pan in this shade here, and I did pair those 2 together, I am obviously counting this as level 5 complete, but I do still want to focus in on this. So next month when I do my update, I'm going to let you guys know where I'm at with this one. I will keep you updated with this shade because I'm like so determined to hit pan on it. But we have actually officially completed level 5 in this project. So I'm excited about it. And we are going to go over numbers now. So Candy Clouds, which is the first shade in this palette, was absolutely beautiful. I used it a few times even after I had hit pan on here, but I didn't count those uses. So the number of uses that I have is 8 to actually hit pan on here. I would love pairing this with this shade when I was using this in the outer half of my lid, which is usually what I did. I would pair this on the inner half, and I found it was just a really pretty combination. This shimmer all over the lid, there was something about this. I knew that this was definitely one that I was going to try and hit pan on, and I'm pretty sure this was like one of the first shades that I fell in love with in this palette. So I knew that was an easy one. So within 8 uses, I was able to hit pan. And again, like I said, I've used it a few times after, but I just didn't keep track of usages. So I want to say probably closer to like 11 or so. The second shade, I'm sorry. The second shade, Let's Eat Cake, I have reached for a total of 7 times. I actually reached for it again today, so I guess I should mark that down and make it 8 uses. Even though obviously I don't need to because I have all my 5 pans, but that's okay. I liked using this in the inner corner. I actually did that today because I meant to use this one, but I reached for this one instead with my look. And then I actually went back to just to kind of top it off with this one, because even though it's blue in the pan, it's more of like a pink in certain lighting. And this one here, even though it's lighter in the pan, in certain lighting, it's more blue, which of course it's not going to show right now. But pairing it with a purple, you really get the blue out of the shade. So I wanted something just a little bit lighter. So I did go back and actually dip into the shade just to lighten it up a little bit. This is the shade called Yum Yum. And like I said, this is the one shade that I decided I was actually going to focus on. And I still have not hit pan in this. And I have used this a total of 13 times. So I think because the formula of the shade is different than the rest of them, like I said, it's not as smooth, it's a little more rough. I've been dipping my brush into there so you can, I hope you can see the dip on camera, but there's no way that there's pan yet. So hopefully within the next few uses and by next month, I will have a pan in that shade, even if it is small. I am still determined and I want to hit pan in there, and then I'm only going to have 3 shades left without pan, and we'll chat about that later. Next, in the second row, the shade called Sweet Dreams. I hit pan on this in 7 uses as well. This was 7. I've also hit 7 uses on here. Again, this was also one of my favorite shades, so I knew that it wasn't going to be much before I actually did that. And I have really enjoyed this shade. Even again, before rolling this palette in, I loved using this one. So I knew that one would be an easy pan as well, and it sure was. This shade right here, which is called So Tasty, I only used the 5 times. Now, last month I said that the last few uses to make my 4-use goal, I used it on my lower lash line. And that's again what I did for the 5th use. It's definitely the one shade in the palette that's just not for me. I know the first time I had used it in this project, I tried putting it all over the lid, but it just didn't really work out the way I was hoping. It wasn't a good look for me. I didn't really like it. I could use this in the inner corner as I pop. However, even though I haven't updated my pan and every palette yet for September, so you will get an October update. I've been trying to use that blue in my inner corner, so I didn't really want to pair the green on top of the blue. So I just used it on the lower lash line really quickly, really lightly. And I think that this is the one shade in the palette that I'm never going to hit pan on, and I'm more than okay with that. As long as the others have pan and are eventually completed and whatnot, I will be okay with this shade only having like 5 uses if it needs to, and then just moving on from there. Next, we have the shade Shooting Star, and I used that a total of 6 times, but including today, it would be 7 times. Now we have the other shade down here called Sugar Overload, and that took me a total of 9 uses to hit pan on. Now, again, I really enjoy like the pink tones in this palette, so it was easy for me to use. I definitely liked pairing a few, like even though they're all shimmers, I did like doing all shimmer looks with my eyes. Like I would put a matte in the crease. Sometimes I would use my Mercury retrograde palette, use the mattes in there, and then dip into these and do like a couple shimmers on the lid, which I tend to do a lot of. So I liked pairing this one with this shade as well, and probably this shade, I think. So I really enjoyed this one, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, a total of 9 uses to hit pan, and I wasn't mad about it. I really enjoyed reaching for it. So if I had a couple more, it wasn't going to be an issue. But I have not reached for this shade since I've hit pan on it. Now, the shade Heavenly Treats. This was actually the second pan that I hit in the palette. Sweet Dreams, which was this one, was actually the first, because I do have them all written down here. Candy Cloud was... No, we have... Okay, hold on. Sweet Dreams, Heavenly Treats, Sugar Overload, and then Candy Clouds, and then we will chat about this one in a second. So this was the second pan that I had actually hit, and I did that in a total of 7 uses as well. So it seems to be 7 uses to hit pan in the shimmers. Now I had used this a little bit beforehand, so that was not from brand new. This was the only shade that was really untouched. I think it had maybe 1 use on it from a prior project, but other than that, everything else did already have usage on it. But to to have like more than just one pan hit with a total of 7 uses exactly for all of those shades is kind of funny. But I really, really liked wearing the shade all over the lid. I loved pairing it with this shade here. Like I said, I liked pairing it with this one. I just really liked even this one by itself on its own. I just really enjoy this shade a lot, and I think it's one of my favorites in the palette. So I would have no problem again if I had to keep going on with this palette, with this shade in this palette. I have not reached for it since I hit pan, but I definitely want to pull it into projects later to eventually try and finish it up, because I really, really did love just the tone of it. And then last but not least is Sweet and Sleepy. And of course, this was the 5th pan that I had hit. And as I showed you, it was very, very tiny. So I did that in, again, total of 7 usage. So don't know where that number 7 is coming from. You can see the pan back here a little bit, right there. I liked using this. I did this one on the inner corner, or the inner half of the lid, the inner third of the lid. And I paired it a lot with this one right here because I was really determined to try and hit pan on that one, but I happened to actually hit pan in here first. I wasn't expecting it at all. Maybe just because I thought of it as like an afterthought kind of shade. But I really did actually have a really good time reaching for this palette. As I had said before, I was kind of hoping that I would have reached for this for like level 7 so I could get every single shade in this palette with pan, but having 5 pans in here right now is pretty good. And then I am going to continue to focus on here, so you guys will be updated to see what it's going to be like next month and when I do actually hit pan on it. And then these 2 shades here I will eventually focus on as well and pull them into projects. Like I said, this is what I wanted to pull in for Beauty Chest, and I would have pulled in these 2 shades right here, but I didn't want to spoil this update. So we went with something else, which is totally fine because it worked out very well and I'm really excited about it. But yeah, eventually I would love to completely finish off the shades that do have pan. I want to hit pan on here, obviously this one. Once I hit pan on here, I think I'm going to leave it. I don't think, like I'll probably reach for it, but I don't think I'm going to try and finish it. I think I'm just going to try and finish the ones that are a little bit smoother. I don't know what I'm going to do with these ones, if I want to finish those ones either or not, or just try and hit pan on them. And then this one, like I said, if it stays the way that it is, I'm totally happy with that. But if I can get some more use and love and some shiny pan showing more in those ones, then I'll be happy. So that is my level 5 palette, not level 4. And we are going to move on to level 6. Now, I only had 2 palettes left to choose from, and they were both from Gimme Glow. One was the Coral Nightlife palette, and one was the Summer Vibes palette. So I had both of them open up on my desk. Actually, I'm going to, one second. Okay, I didn't want to spoil the one that I chose. So I had them both open on my desk, trying to decide which one I wanted to use, and knowing that I had to use every shade 6 times and hit 6 pans. I wanted to start this project earlier, and knowing that I have already hit my 5 pans in the Sugar Dreams palette, I was like, let's just do this now. I had them open. I was debating. I said, you know, the more pans in the Summer Vibes palette, this is what mine looks like right here. I'm like, it is trying to reach for 6 shades in more pans than there is in the Coral Nightlife palette. But these shades might be a little bit easier to use depending on the time of the year, which we are into fall now. Even though this one has pan, I still have to use it the 6 times. So I was like, more pans, but okay shades. Or I'm like, we could go with the Coral Nightlife palette, and there's less pans in here, but brighter shades. And I think the only shades that I would be having a harder time reaching for are these 3 right here. I would have to use them a total of 6 times each. And I'm thinking like, am I gonna hit level 7 this year? I don't think so, considering we are already in October, well, September when I filmed this, but this is the October update. I don't think I'm gonna end up hitting level 7. So between the 2, I was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one of them, and then come next year when I do this project again, I think I'm going to keep the same layout, and the palette that I don't choose for this round, I'm going to pull over into next year. And I could use that as level 1. I could start off that way. I'm going to probably select another maybe 6 palettes. We'll see how I'm feeling to make a total of 7 again for next year. Maybe select 5 more, make a total of 6 so that I actually can complete it all. So whichever one I do not choose, you will see next year. So when I decided that, I figured it would probably be easier to go with the Summer Vibes palette just because of the colors. Yes, there's more of them, but I feel like I can get away with pairing a lot of these together, which is going to make hitting those 6 uses on every shade a lot easier. And this is my absolute favorite Gimme Glow shade anyways, which is called Electric Unicorn. So hitting 6 uses on there will be super easy, and I think I'm really going to enjoy reaching for this shade. I think I can really easily pair a lot of these together, and then it's mainly kind of like maybe these two here that I'm going to have a harder time with, but again, just a little pop of color in the inner corner on the lower lash line. I think I can make it work. Now, when it comes to hitting the 6 pans, they are more than likely going to be shimmers. However, I am going to try and focus on a couple of mattes, I think, because as I said earlier this year, I didn't want to focus on all shimmers to hit pan on in my projects because I didn't want to be left with only mattes to select from in the coming years. And I feel like having a good mix is just going to keep things more fun and more entertaining along the way. So even though there's a few shimmers in here that I think I'm going to be able to hit pan on, I'm hoping that I'm going to reach for a couple of mattes as well and hit pan on those. So probably these 2 for sure. And then I don't know about this one. Maybe one of these 3. I have no idea. But I can almost guarantee you that this one's going to have pan in it. This one's going to have pan in it. This one already does, so that one won't count. But then I'll have to select one of those. 1, 2, or the 3, and then maybe 3 mattes if I can. I don't want to pre-select, but I'm just kind of guessing at which ones I'm going to gravitate towards and see where we end up. So because this is level 6, I wanted to get an early start on this to, even a couple of weeks, which is definitely a couple extra usages to hopefully try and see how far I can get within level 6 for this year. Now, usually I end my stuff in November. We'll see where I'm at for the November update, but I might actually do this right until December, which is when the project ends, and then restart again in January. And again, in January, when I do pull my new palettes for this project, you will see this. I will pull this back unless there's something that just like really doesn't want me to actually reach for it. But I feel like I can probably, even if I use this, like I said, as level 1 or level 2, I think I can get some decent use on this. And just hit a couple pans. That's all I need. That's all I want. But I think 6 or 7 right now for this is just a little too much. But the randomized gods didn't want me to work on it earlier on in the project. So this is where we're at right now. And I wanted to select my own level 5 palette. And I was thinking that maybe I should have left out Sugar Drizzle, the Sugar Dreams palette, and selected one of these 2 for level 5. But I don't think I'd be hitting my level 5 goals with this update right now. So hopefully I made the right decision. I went about it the right way, and I can get through level 6 for this year and be, at least 1 level further than I was last year, or 2 levels, I think. So I'm happy with where I'm at right now, regardless. So that is it. That is all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And we will see where I am next month. And I will see you guys all later. Bye.